a little bit of a rainbow in a world that has been so dampened in the last few months. We had some exciting racing that left Drops, the British team, in the maillot jaune as the leaders of this virtual Tour de France for women. Team Tipco just 1 point behind, with Canyon Schramm in third place. The green jersey competition was a good tussle. Canyon Schramm are at the top of the leaderboard. Remember, all these classifications are to do with points in this virtual Tour de France. Hannah Barnes will wear the green jersey for the Canyon Schramm today. Drops also had a good day in the mountains. Joss Loudon was the rider who was on the move a lot of the time. She will wear the polka dot jersey this afternoon in this virtual race. The best young rider, again Canyon Schramm, mopping that one up as well. Ella Harris, the New Zealander, will be in the white jersey as the leader of that classification for her team. The yellow jersey worn today by Elise Olsen of Drops, the Norwegian rider. This is how the contest works. You are awarded points for the first 25 riders across the line, and that is all accumulated during the 6 stages that we're going to enjoy to decide each stage who takes the jersey. Again, a team contest for the green jersey. We have 1 intermediate sprint today for the first 10 riders across the intermediate sprint point, which comes after 27 kilometers of racing. In the background then we can see the epic King of the Mountains or Queen of the Mountains point for the women, and the polka dot jersey again today is going to be on a second category climb for the first 10 riders who cross the top of the climb. The white jersey is all about riders who are born after January the 1st, 1995. At the finish line, the first 10 riders born after that date are also given points towards the white jersey. And again, a team competition today. Ella Harris will be in that jersey. We'll look out for her. The team classification combines all the points, so all the different classifications added together to tell us who is going to be the leader of the team. And you can get involved as a fan. We'll have a Twitter poll, so take a look at Le Tour on Twitter, and you can vote in that poll to decide who's the most combative rider. Zwift is a game. It may be about human challenge, but there are power-ups that can be used by the riders, and we'll describe what they mean as the race continues. It gives them a little bit of an advantage, and it can really become a tactical battle between the squads. 16 teams of 4 riders taking to the race start, and here are the teams. Joss Loudon there in the Drops team in the Queen of the Mountains jersey. There's a few other big names though riding today. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig rides for her FDJ team. Floorta Mackay is also here, as is Anna van der Breggen and Tatiana Goderzo. So many big names are on stage number 2 of this virtual Tour de France. Here's the profile. 682 meters of climbing in a stage of 29.5 kilometers. You basically go up one side of the mountain, down the other, through the sprint point, and then the run into the finish. We look down then on the avatars of the riders in this virtual Tour de France. The riders, of course, at home, riding on their smart trainers.
Bonjour à tous, bienvenue pour cette deuxième étape du Tour de France virtuel femmes. La course est actuellement lancée dans le monde de Watopia. 29,5 km à parcourir aujourd'hui pour les concurrentes représentant 16 équipes. Hello and welcome on Radio Tour for Stage 2 of the Ladies Virtual Tour de France. The race is currently underway, set in the world of Watopia. 29.5 kilometers of racing today for the riders representing 16 teams.
The voice of Seb Piquet, the voice of Radio Tour of the Tour de France, getting this race underway as we look down on the rider from Team Drops, Elise Olsen, this Norwegian rider who studies at the sports school in the famous Lillehammer, where of course was the scene of the Winter Olympic Games. The team director says that she's a future world champion, has got a real drive, a huge talent, and so Elise Olsen in that yellow jersey has got a very special day ahead. Even being a virtual rider. Of course, at home, she is putting in the effort, and we can see the stats there at the bottom of the screen, and there she is at home on the smart trainer. And for those of you who've never seen virtual racing before, she's riding on an indoor trainer. The trainer is controlled by the game of Zwift. It decides her to feel the hills, the descents, the gradients that the race is on. She also will feel the draft of the rider she's sitting behind as well. So it's a great opportunity to tactically simulate bike racing. So she's putting in nearly 300 watts at the moment, spinning along at 101 revs per minute. She knows that it's a big moment for this small British team of drops. They've been given this wildcard invite. Her heart rate's up at 177 beats a minute, so she's working really hard, and at the moment she's not really sitting in the slipstream of the riders, so she won't feel the draft of the peloton as much as if she was sitting a little bit further back. Around about 10 riders back is a good idea, and the algorithm of Zwift means there's a cone effect of drafting from the front rider who is at the head of the peloton, which means that all the other riders do feel around about 30% less energy being used up as they sit in the slipstream. Alice Barnes then, a rider who is in the group, in fact Hannah Barnes of Canyon SRAM, who is wearing number 12, not Alice. Alice is her sister. Let's just double check. Yeah, it's Hannah Barnes, not Alice Barnes, so sorry about the caption there. Hannah Barnes from Canyon SRAM. Her sister is a British champion. They both ride in the same team. But Hannah Barnes is a former British champion. 291 watts she's putting out, and Hannah is currently wearing the green jersey within our Zwift game on the right hand side. We can just catch a glimpse of her. She's riding 177 beats a minute. There she is in that green jersey for the Canyon SRAM team after a wonderful day yesterday. Peloton rolling along. Underneath the positions you can see there on the right hand side, you'll see something called watts per kilogram, and that gives us an idea of how many watts, how much power basically a rider is putting out per kilogram of their body weight. And if we watch, you'll tend to see when they're sitting in the group, watts per kilo around about a similar level, very similar level. But then we're also able to watch it and see when someone is putting in a big attack or trying to get away from the field, you'll see their power output per kilogram start to increase. And that's what we just saw then. Left-hand side of the screen then, here is Joss Loudon, comes from Lewis down on the south coast of Great Britain. She's wearing the Queen of the Mountains jersey, as we can see on the right-hand side, riding for her drops team. Her setup looks like she might be in the garage at home, but spinning, trying to get the gear going. Her camera not working too well for us this afternoon. But Joss Loudon had a wonderful day yesterday. She was in a tussle with Erica Malgnaldi, the team from Ceratizit WNT, and she came out the best. So Loudon secured that polka dot jersey for her squad. Towards the front, wearing number 11, is Ella Harris, and she's in the white jersey as the best young rider, making our way up this little start of the climb. So the course today, we started at sea level basically. We went through the ocean tunnel in Watopia. Watopia is the virtual world of Zwift. We will be riding in a virtual France over the next 4 stages, and then we start climbing, and this climb is 9.4 kilometers. The average gradient is 3.9%, but it takes us up to what we call the radio tower at the top here in Watopia. And the top of it is brutal, it's steep. The average gradient in the last kilometre is 13.7% before we go flying downhill on the descent. And those of you thinking, well, how does everybody have the same feeling on the bike? Well, it is the Zwift platform, the game, that is controlling how the riders feel. So it really does feel like you are going uphill. It feels like you are trying to stay in the slipstream of the other riders. And as we go over the bridge here, you can see that Ella Harris on the front is really stretching the peloton out, and riders are losing the group. There's Ella Harris on the left-hand side. She's a young New Zealander. She is very experienced on riding on e-games on Zwift. She was the winner of the Zwift Academy to get her contract with the Canyon SRAM team 2 years ago. And as you can see in the background through the windows, it's pretty dark outside because Ella is at home in New Zealand. It is 2 a.m. in New Zealand, and Ella Harris is racing against her team, with her teammates and against all the other pros across the world. But that's got to be commitment to her sponsors and to all the fans, isn't it? 2 a.m. she's riding over there in New Zealand. She sent me a message this morning. She said around about 9 o'clock, she said, I'm going to go for a sleep, have some dinner, have a sleep. Then I'm going to hope I feel a lot better than I do right now because I'm already feeling a little bit tired. And then I'll race at 2 a.m. in the morning. There's Ellen van Dijk, riding for the Trek Segafredo team, 33 years of age, a world champion of the time trial, a very powerful rider. As you can see, she has that really calm, composed style, keeping the pace up. Not renowned as a climber, but her time trialing ability on this 9.4 kilometre climb will mean that she'll be able to just stay in touch, and then hopefully she'll be able to use her power over the top. She's definitely in the garage this afternoon, putting out 309 watts. But Ellen van Dijk, a winner of the Tour of Flanders, sitting there, hands on the drops, really comfortable style, hasn't she? 95 revs a minute, looks composed at this moment in time, doesn't look under too much pressure. We're 10 minutes into the race. The Queen of the Mountains point is 13.9 kilometres into this ride today. Then we go over the top of the climb, a little bit of a kick before or after that point, as we see the yellow jersey starting to have a few issues here. Elise Olsen is struggling to stay on the wheel of the rest of the riders and is being dropped by the group. There she is, she's just trying to stay there, sweating quite a lot there on the left-hand side. This is a tough effort, clicking her way through the gears, shuts the eyes, just trying to compose herself. This is hurting. Well, simulated bike racing is not easy at all. You have to put yourself into all sorts of hurt just to stay there as she tries to click through the gears and find a gear that gives her a little bit more comfort. 25 kilometers an hour. On the front of the group, the positions are showing that Erica Magnaldi of Ceratizit WNT is the rider who's setting the pace, with Sarah Gigante, the Australian rider. Also near the front is Lauren Stevens, Joss Loudon. Magnaldi drops back just a little bit. And with the yellow jersey right now is Florta Mackay. On the front then, it is Olausen, who is just keeping a nice tempo for the team of Sunweb. Also up near the front, the climber Erica Magnaldi, who we got a glimpse of yesterday. Magnaldi also is a qualified doctor, the same as Tanya Erith, but they're now pro bike riders. Magnaldi was very good on the climbs yesterday, looked really impressive. Magnaldi seemed to come through the peloton at the right time yesterday on the climb. She used her power-ups to good effect, but she tended to put her power-ups in a little bit too early, maybe 3 or 4 seconds too early compared to the need for that power-up to be used. There is Magnaldi. She's moved her position today. Yesterday she was riding outside. Today she's chosen to go inside by the looks of things. Looks a little bit warmer in there. So Erica Magnaldi, one of her teammates' cameras there on the left-hand side slightly as well. But Magnaldi tends to be she tends to ride a pretty big gear on that home trainer. So if you're sitting at home and you're thinking, I'd very much like to have a go at this, or during the lockdown across the world, the smart trainers that we use were pretty much out of stock everywhere across the world, but now they are back in stock, and they literally link up. You put your bike on them, they link up to your screen, and you're able to control your ride. You can join all sorts of events, races, rides, and all the pro riders were on there during the lockdown period. At times there were 30-odd thousand riders online, riding various places across the world, taking part in events, joining up with the pro teams. And the riders also ride and talk on a gaming channel called Discord, so they're able to talk amongst themselves anywhere across the world. Some of these teams will be doing that this afternoon. They'll have their earpieces in, they'll have their team director in their ears, who will be giving them little bits of information, little bits of advice, and most importantly, because this is mentally challenging, they'll also be doing everything they possibly can to keep them motivated. .7 kilometers to the finish. Stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. Here's a little bit of statistics for you. This is our computer predictions as to who might win the stage, and they're saying Liane Lippert, maybe from Team Sunweb, Borgley of the FDJ team, which is an interesting pick, and also from the Valcar team, we saw there, Lisa Balsamo. A very small group of riders, maybe what, 15, 20 riders now in the front group as we make our way up the climb. So the Queen of the Mountains point is in 5.5 kilometers still remaining to the top of that climb, so still a big effort. The gradient there on the right hand side, 7% right now. And when you talk to the pro riders who are used to riding on this platform, they will tell you that anything under 7% is not really worth a pro rider attacking on. But if you get over 7%, then it really starts to play into your hands, and it's possible to attack at a level that you would do in a bike race. Onto the cobbles. And I mentioned yesterday that some of these riders will have trainers that actually simulate riding on the cobbles as well. So they send a little bit of vibration through the back of the bike so that it feels exactly like it would do when you're on a cobbled section. Joss Loudon. She actually works for one of the team sponsors, because this is a team that is all about developing riders. They are a pro team, but they are one of the lower budget teams, and they're looking for a sponsor to try and step up to the next level. But she works for the team sponsor, iTelligence, who are an NTT data business solutions company, and she actually helped to bring that sponsor into the team. So she's not only being a rider, she's also trying to help the team grow as well. We're getting into the virtual snow line. Hannah Barnes is up there towards the front in the green jersey. Sarah Gigante is doing well today. She was third in the Alp Zwift for all. She's a level 47 rider on this platform. She's ridden nearly 26,000 kilometers on this platform itself. So Sarah Gigante is a rider who knows very well how to ride here. McNaldy on the right hand side, still out the saddle, big gear. Compared to the cadence of Joss Loudon, two completely different styles. McNaldy happy just to be almost weight training on the bike, big gear engaged. Joss Loudon choosing to use the cadence and still maintain different levels of power. Now you'll notice in the back pockets that glow that you can see. within the game, the riders are given thumbs up. You can see all the little thumbs arriving above the riders. And the fans who are in the game itself watching at this time are able to send riders ride-ons or thumbs up. And they fill the back pockets of the riders' jerseys on their avatars, and they glow blue. So the more they get, the bigger the blue glow is going to be as we make our way towards the end of the stage. Well, Alson still setting the tempo towards the front. Ella Harris, and it really is a small group of riders now. Josh Loudon takes over at the front. Towards the back, Lauren Stevens. Well, during this virtual race, fans across the world have had a chance to ride the virtual l'étape du Tour de France, which is being held over 3 weeks. This morning, 55,000 riders had already registered to take part in 16 rides. Incredible support for the Tour de France United, a campaign raising money for a group of cycling-focused charities. So if you want to take part in that, take a look at Zwift and you can ride the virtual Tour de France. Don't forget, in today's race, you as a fan have got the opportunity to vote for your most aggressive rider of the day. So you can go on to @LeTour on Twitter and you can vote for your most aggressive rider of the day, the person you think deserves that award. So you may well decide as we get towards the end of the stage who your rider is going to be. As we make our way through the tunnel, still McNaldy towards the front. Josh Loudon continues to maintain the tempo. Yesterday, in terms of the Queen of the Mountains competition, team drops. The team of Josh Loudon took 12 points. Sarah Tizit, WNT, were in second place on 7. Today, in terms of the Queen of the Mountains, there are 10 points on offer at the top of the climb and all the way down to 1 point, so 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, 1. So McNaldy and Loudon, again, I'm sure will be involved in that action when they get towards the top of this rise. And remember, you're looking for the kilometre 13.9, so another 3.1 kilometres of climbing to go before we then go through the Queen of the Mountains point. Then we kick uphill to the radio tower, which is very, very steep. So it's after that point, after that Queen of the Mountains point, we'll go up over the radio tower and then descend downhill, very, very fast descent, down through the sprint point and then into the finish line. A little bit of relaxing time now on this climb. So we've gone onto the flat, we've gone over one of the steep sections. And rumbling our way over the next little bridge. No one's been prepared to make an attack yet. .9 kilometres to go to the top of the pass. So in fact, I can see there on the left-hand side, 2 of the Sarah Tizit riders are riding together today. So they're next to each other, which is why you can just see the arm of one of the other riders. So Erica McNaldy's got a little bit of support today. Yesterday she was on the balcony on her own. So nice to see that she's got a little bit of support there from her, one of her teammates. Ella Harris in the white jersey. Just trying to slot in and stay in the draft. I'm sure she's had a few coffees to keep herself awake at 2 a.m. in New Zealand. But Ella Harris is a rider who knows this platform so well. To win the Zwift Academy, you had to take part in a number of different races over 3 months. from riders all across the world, thousands of women taking part, trying to vie for a possibility of almost a trial with the Canyon SRAM professional team. They've really supported this e-racing over the last 3 years. They've chosen 4 riders now to be pro riders with them, and 3 of them are still in the team. So Tanya Erith, who we saw yesterday racing, Ella Harris, who's now racing here, she's the climber, and Jess Pratt, who is also in that squad. She rode yesterday for the Canyon SRAM team. It's a wonderful idea. It's also been supported by the NTT team for the men, and they've found some riders through the Zwift Academy. But the Canyon SRAM team really have found some amazing talent, and as you can see, they're riding very strongly at the top of the front of this climb. So Harris setting a tempo now. Lawson goes through to the front. Who is going to go for the Queen of the Mountains points? We're only 1.4 kilometers away from that Queen of the Mountains point on this climb, and remember, it was drops with a 5-point advantage now. So Loudon just needs to keep a good eye out and make sure that she manages to get across that top of that climb. We've climbed now 351 meters. We've still got well over 200 meters to go of climbing. Now we get a little chance to see Kristen Faulkner, who had a great day yesterday, was second on stage 1. Riding for the American squad of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. Heart rate's up 173 beats a minute, and revving really high there at 104 revs per minute. Now we're going to start climbing again. So we've gone over that little peak, we've gone slightly downhill. Now we're going to start climbing up to the Queen of the Mountains point, and as you can see, she's now kicking in over 400 watts just to stay in the group. Kristen Faulkner, 5th on stage 2 of the Zwift Tour for All, which was another race that took part during lockdown. A reminder then at the top of the screen, the hashtag is TDF United. Join us on there because we're trying to support 5 cycling related charities, and your support would be very, very welcome. Erica McNaldy with a little bit of an attack. I haven't seen any power-ups yet. If you'd like to message me in today, @AntMcCrossan is where you can join me on Twitter this afternoon. So if you'd like to send me your messages and your thoughts on what you're thinking about the racing as we head now towards the Queen of the Mountains point. And it looks to me like Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig is looking for this one, but Erica McNaldy is going for it now. Tracked not too far behind by the polka dot jersey, and McNaldy looks like she's going to take the maximum points at the top of the climb this time. So McNaldy goes across the top. Loudon is in second place. Look at the effort on her face there on the left. That was a big, big move. Now she's got to try and recover because this climb continues. She doesn't want to get dropped out of the group. Well done to Erica McNaldy of Ceratizit WNT, this German team. 3 riders now on the attack. We take a left-hand turn, and now we get a group of 4. So McNaldy has made her way into this group. So has Loudon. Looks to me like Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig and also Ella Harris. So Ella Harris has paid good attention. On the front is Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig, and we're going to go all the way up to that radio tower on the right-hand side. And the next part of this climb is absolutely brutal. Here's the replay then. As we go over the top of the climb, the Queen of the Mountains point, McNaldy yet again going for maximum points. She closes the gap on Joss Loudon by 2 points. But the Queen of the Mountains jersey will remain on the shoulders of Team Drops. Just a reminder then that all the competitions are teams, they're not individuals. So the points are combined, and whichever team is at the top of the table in the classification is then given the jersey. Right, now we're onto the brutally steep part of this climb. You can see the face on Erika McNulty now. She's having to work supremely hard to go up this climb. You can see just how steep it is. There are parts of this climb that are over 20%. The average gradient is 13.7. Now let's see if any of these riders have a power-up. It will certainly help them over the top. There's one power-up in particular. Remember, we're on a gameplay platform, so there's got to be an element of game within this, but it's really intriguing as to how the tactics are used. You will see a little icon come above the rider, and the one they're all looking for right now is the lightweight power-up. That reduces their weight by 9.5 kilos for 15 seconds and would help them attack on this climb. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig puts in an attack now. 7.1 watts per kilo. She just extended her pace a little bit. We're onto the 12% gradient. Cecilia sent me a message this morning just before this stage. She's fueled by avocado. She loves avocados. It's probably her favorite thing in the world. And she said she's not so experienced on Zwift, but she's going to do her very, very best to deliver a worthy show. And she's certainly doing that now. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig, who you may remember from La Course, gave us that wonderful interview at the end of La Course a couple of years ago. There she is on the right-hand side. There is Cecilia. 338 watts she's putting in compared to 313 to McNulty. And Cecilia in her sunglasses this afternoon. Maybe they're rose tinted just to help her out a little bit. Thanks for the message, Steve Fry, just reminding me Erika McNulty's only 45 kilos. So does she need a featherweight power-up? But it looks to me like there's going to be two riders at the top of this climb. Uttrup Ludwig of the FDJ team. She's been training hard. She spent most of lockdown in Denmark. She went back home. She spent a lot of time with her family. She still managed to get out training. But look how hard she's having to work on this indoor trainer just to keep the momentum going. But this is a great attack by these two riders. McNulty of Ceratizit WNT and Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig as they reach the radio tower in Watopia. And Uttrup Ludwig looks for another gear, clicks onto it. Oh, that bike is getting you really, really hammered around as she makes her way towards the top of the climb. Now she sits down, a little bit of respite. McNulty will get onto the wheel. If you joined us yesterday, you'll remember that once the gradient gets over 5% on the descent, they are able to accelerate up to top speed, and then they can freewheel quick and they will go into the super tuck. And Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig now engages the super tuck. And let's see if Erika McNulty knows that that's what you can do, because there is the gameplay. Uttrup Ludwig goes into the super tuck. She'll catch McNulty very quickly. See other riders coming up the other side who are in the Zwift game, and they're both now in the super tuck. Fast downhill. This descent is going to go extremely quickly. 27 kilometers is the intermediate sprint point. Only one intermediate sprint today. And all the riders now engaging the super tuck, so they get the chance now to recover just a little bit. You have to be careful on this descent though, because there's a couple of points like here where suddenly the super tuck unwinds and you've got to get ready to pedal hard. So two riders now at the front. 9 seconds is the advantage on Kristen Faulkner. And now they're over that little rise. Now they'll go back into the super tuck again. So now they've got to put the pressure on. McNulty, it'll be interesting to watch her heart rate here. It's 185 as she went into the super tuck. And let's see whether she recovers a little bit. There she is, just trying to bring the heart rate down. I guess if you're a rower or something, it's like being on a concept rower. We have world championships of those as well. So now she's trying to calm down, recover quickly. She's gone from 185 beats a minute. Now the heart rate's dropping. Look at that, she's at 176. Now she knows that she's got to start to kick on, because she will get onto the next steep part of the climb once it unlocks 5%. 7 seconds now. So Faulkner at 7. Paulina Royackers, a member of the CCC team, is there in the top 6. This morning I did a little warm-up on Zwift ahead of this commentary, and was lucky enough, we have a Sunday morning ride with Ashley Moolman-Passio, who's from CCC Live. She will be riding some of the next mountain stages, and she said that she felt that Paulina Royackers, her teammate, would have an opportunity to finish in the top 6 today. Ashley Moolman-Passio is the team director this afternoon. Back with this third place rider. Kristen Faulkner of Team Tibco, this American team. Team Tibco, Silicon Valley Bank, they're based in Palo Alto in California. One of the oldest running sponsorship deals in any of world cycling, whether it be men or women. They've got some wonderful partners. Kristen Faulkner, third place on the road. Picking it up now to over 60k an hour, 171 beats per minute. Now she tries to recover a little bit. You can see how hard she's breathing. She's got the earpiece in, so her team director will be talking to her in her ear. We've not got far to go to the finish. She also takes a little bit of food on board. Takes a little bit of a bar or a gel there, just to try and give the body a little bit more energy to take into the finish. And it is so demanding, this simulated racing, that the riders do have to think about nutrition. They have to think about whether they take electrolytes, whether they take some gels during the race as well. These two riders really are showing us an impressive performance, but Faulkner is the rider that we need to worry about here. Kristen Faulkner coming back. Stage 1 yesterday, she was second place to the young British rider April Tacey of the Drops team, the 19-year-old who surprised everybody and beats the world champion of the time trial, Chloe Dygert. She beat Tanya Erith. She beat former world champion Chantal Vandenbroek Black. And now we've got a group of 3 at the front. Kristen Faulkner has used her knowledge of this platform to very, very good effect here to come back to the front. Only 8.5 kilometers to go. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig has put on the show that she told me she was going to try and do. Can she now win the stage? Or will one of these two riders, Faulkner or McNaldy, who yesterday were involved in loads of the action, can they bring home the victory? The big other question is whether any of these riders are going to pick up a power-up on this run-in. And particularly as they go into the finish line, the power-up they're using, I just saw Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig has used a power-up there. She went invisible for 10 seconds. I think she's just done that to get rid of the power-up, because you get a new power-up when you get to the sprint point, and she's looking for the aero power-up in particular, or the breakaway power-up. If she can pick that up at the sprint point, that will help her on the actual sprint 2 kilometers later at the finish line. Only 7.3 kilometers to go. Thank you to all of you for watching this virtual Tour de France. Well, we couldn't have the Tour de France in July because of the lockdown across the world. but we've been given the opportunity to at least still see these great athletes racing, albeit at home. There is Cecilia, just trying to calm the heart rate down a little bit. Now she's getting out the saddle again as we get onto the flat. She's keeping an eye on the other riders. Rides for this French squad. She rides for the FDJ Nouvelle Aquitaine Futuroscope squad. She's got her teammates Eugenie Duval and Stina Bordley, who are with her in this race today. Haven't seen anything of Anna van der Breggen today, the world champion, Olympic champion. But we are now only around 3.5 kilometers from the intermediate sprint. Right hand side of the screen then, that's the race situation. So Ludwig, Faulkner and Magnaldi 11 seconds ahead of a group containing Loudon of Drops, Roy Ackers of CCC and Lawrence Stevens also of Team Tipco. So that's a good day for Team Tipco as far as the Maillot Jaune is concerned. Roy Ackers, this is the group that's chasing. Can they come back in time to compete for the finish? Roy Ackers there on the front, just trying to keep the pace as high as possible. Well, yesterday we saw Drops in the lead in the Maillot Jaune competition, the yellow jersey competition, with 71 points. Second place was Team Tipco with 70. So it looks to me like it could be a very good day for Team Tipco, because they've got 2 riders in the first few groups. In fact, there's 2 of their riders here in this chase group. So Roy Ackers is here, Lawrence Stevens is here, Loudon is here, and it looks to me also like Sara Gigante is in the group. Here is Paulina Roy Ackers. In her ear will be Ashley Moolman-Passio talking to her at the moment. She's level 9 on Zwift. There are various levels of how much you've ridden, so she's not ridden too much, but when she has, she's performed very well in the mountains. It's to me like one rider trying to go away from the chase group, and it's Joss Loudon who's trying to accelerate, puts in a huge turn, 389 watts, 110 revs a minute. She wants to try and get across to the front group of riders. Can she close the gap? She's joined immediately by Lawrence Stevens. Lawrence Stevens now trying to close the gap. So 11 seconds is still the lead. If they can find a power up to use, could be the right time. Roy Ackers is kind of losing the wheel a little bit here. This group of 4 is being stretched, and Lawrence Stevens is going clear. Saw Lawrence Stevens ride one of the reconnaissance rides last week. She looked so comfortable on the bike, just riding along on Zwift. This is our lead group. Just a reminder then, if you've just joined us, we're 4.3 kilometers from the finish. The leading group is Magnaldi, Ludwig and Faulkner. And Magnaldi puts in a big turn, and it looks to me like everyone is closing up. So the group is coming back, and they are going to close the gap on these 3 leaders. So we're going to end up with a group of 7. Well, they closed the gap on that last little bit of the descent and on the flat. So Loudon putting in a huge turn, and I think she may well also have engaged a power up that we didn't see. So the front group is going to end up 7 riders. Magnaldi leads, 3.9 kilometers to go, 1 kilometer to the sprint. So we are 1 kilometer from the intermediate sprint now. Here's some quick statistics. The average watts per kilo on the climb. Erica Magnaldi, 5.3 watts per kilo on the climb was our average watts, which is very impressive indeed. Okay, we get ready for the sprint. Remember, the green jersey is being held by Canyon Schramm. Just looking to see there are no Canyon Schramm riders in this first 7. Second place in the green jersey, Team Tipco. So they could do with winning this sprint here. They're going to go over the cobbles, and then it's a very slightly uphill here. And then we turn towards the sprint point, and then we're not far from the finish. Combativity prize on the left-hand side of the screen. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig has been voted the most aggressive rider of today's stage. Right, we're getting ready for the sprint. Who's going to take this? Very important moment for the green jersey. Again, reminder, it's all a team competition. It's all about the points. McNally is near the front. This is a big opportunity for Tibco. They're in second place in this competition. Canyon SRAM on 82 points, 58 to Team Tibco. And who's going to take it? Sprinting across the line, Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig. Well, she really is performing well today, isn't she? Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig takes the sprint. Now we set ourselves up. 2.5 kilometers remain. And one rider now puts in a power-up, and it's the burrito breakaway, and Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig has attacked. So a reminder that we have these power-ups that can be used. This makes her undraftable by the other riders for 10 seconds. Kind of feel like she should have used that at the finish line. She's got so much power today. I think it would have really helped her on the last few hundred meters. The riders come back to her. She's splitting the group up a little bit. McNally is there. Now another attack. This time it's coming from Kristen Faulkner. Confirmation then of the mountains. Uttrup Ludwig took 10 points. Loudon 9, McNally 8, Royakas 7, and Gigante took the final points there at the top of the climb. I'm wondering if Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig has ignited her power up just a little bit too early. She tried to get away. I think it would have been more useful on the run-in. She could have used that burrito breakaway and could have left all the riders behind with the power she's got today. This is the group. Faulkner is in it. Faulkner of Tibco at the front. Loudon is also there. Lauren Stevens. Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig in the white. McNally has performed again today absolutely superbly. And the other rider in here is the Queen of the Mountains, Joss Loudon. 5 riders at the front. There they are, working their way in towards the finish. Only 858 meters to go. 5 riders in with a chance of taking today's stage victory. McNally, Loudon, Stevens, and there's the classification of the green jersey. So Canyon SRAM still lead the green jersey. 600 meters to go. 5 riders in the breakaway, 50 kilometers an hour. Who's going to win this stage? Stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. So McNally, Sarah Tizet, WNT, Loudon of Drops, Faulkner in here for Tibco with her teammate Lauren Stevens, and Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig. Only 300 meters left to go. They're sprinting hard. Look at the face on Erica McNally as she tries to win this stage. Huge acceleration. Who's going to take the stage victory as they make their way across the line? Who takes it? It looked to me like it might be Joss Loudon or Lauren Stevens. Lauren Stevens, I think, may well have taken the stage for Team Tibco. What a sprint at the line. We'll take a look at the replay. Joss Loudon was leading, but I think Lauren Stevens may well have just got it on the finish line for Team Tibco. The effort of Erica McNally trying to win that stage. Well, we'll take a look at the replay. We'll get confirmation of who took it. I couldn't see whether anyone used a power-up on the run-in, but I think it was Lauren Stevens maybe who took it. wearing number 1. But let's take a look at the replay in a moment. Now we see warming down Erica McNaldy. She's had a very, very good race today. 47 minutes of racing. And it looks to me like Lauren Stevens, there she is at home. Hopefully we can take a look at the replay in just a moment and we will be able to see how she took that victory. Did she use a power-up on the run into the finish? We took a look at Erica McNaldy, but Lauren Stevens of Team Tibco, I think, has taken a big win for her team on stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. All the rest of the riders will be making their way into the finish now. 16 teams of riders taken to the race start. Here's the replay. So they all used some power-ups. Using the aero power-up, Loudon was at the front. Lauren Stevens moves up on the left-hand side. And Lauren Stevens is the winner of that stage for Team Tibco. So the aero power-up was ignited at the right time for 3 riders. Let's take a look then at the results of stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. Lauren Stevens wins in 47 minutes 32 seconds. Joss Loudon of Team Drops in 2nd place. Erica McNaldy of WNT in 3rd. In 4th place, Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig of FDJ. And in 5th place in that group, Kristen Faulkner, also of Team Tibco. Another good day for Team Tibco. Hopefully, if they're the rest of their team can come in the top places, which I think they are doing, they could close the gap and take the yellow jersey. Well, let's hear in a moment from the winner of stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France, from Lauren Stevens of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank. Lauren, very many congratulations on an absolutely stunning win on the 2nd stage of the virtual Tour de France for women. Summarise your feelings after what looked like a brutal stage.
Yeah, it was an exciting win today. I've been racing on Zwift for the past couple months, and to win a race this big was very exciting.
Talk about the climb then. That looked very, very difficult, and you were climbing with the top climbers in the world. I mean, you've got riders like Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig, who is, as we know, a renowned climber. How hard was it just to stay there in the wheels?
Oh, the epic climb was a hard climb in itself, and to be followed by the radio tower. I was actually gapped off into a group of 4 just off the back of the leaders until about 3K to go. So the climb was... I didn't quite have it, but we came back on the flats.
Yeah, you came back on the flats, and it looked to me like you used a power-up in the last few meters. Is that right?
Yes, I got the aero power-up at the last sprint line, and I engaged that power-up to use for the final.
So very well done on the tactics. Now, of course, the team is looking for the maillot jaune, the yellow jersey. You also had your teammate Kristen Faulkner in the group. Do you think the team can get the yellow jersey now?
Yeah, I think we'll be in the yellow. We had Sarah just behind also, so we had 3 in the top 10. So I think that should move us into the yellow for stage 3.
Well, very well done indeed, Lauren. Congratulations, the winner of stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. Enjoy the victory. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Lauren Stevens then, the winner of stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. So you can see, if you're getting used now to this simulated bike racing, this virtual racing, just how important that use of the power-up is She waited, she picked up the power up on the final archway, the sprint point. She had the aero power up, which makes you more aerodynamic for 15 seconds. I think 3 riders in that group had that power up. You noticed that Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig used the breakaway power up on the run-in, and I think it might well have been more useful in the last few hundred meters if she just kept hold of it and then engaged it in the last few meters. She may well have won that stage, but Lauren knows Zwift very well, so she played it to good effect, and she did so well coming back. Here's the classification of the Maillot Jaune of the Tour de France Virtuelle. The Team Tibco now at the top of the leaderboard with 170 points. So Team Tibco will take the yellow jersey. Drops will be in second place. In third place will be Canyon Schramm. Fourth place then will be Boels Dolmans. So Team Tibco, Silicon Valley Bank into the yellow jersey as the leaders of the virtual Tour de France for women. Remember, this is a team competition, so it's all about the accumulation of the points. What will happen now is that for next weekend, and Saturdays and Sundays for 3 weeks, we have the virtual Tour de France. The team captain will be given the yellow jersey for Saturday's stage. Here's the run into the finish again. You can see the icons above 3 riders as they engage their power-ups. And McNaldy tried, but Lauren Stevens got that power and the power-up absolutely perfect. Now this is the area of Watopia known as the Italian Villas. We rode through that yesterday. We'll give you the classifications in a few moments, hopefully, of the other jerseys. Here we are. This is the classification of the green jersey. And Canyon Schramm will be the leaders of the green jersey. We told today that Hannah Barnes was in the green jersey for Canyon Schramm. So they hold that now ahead of Tibco, Silicon Valley Bank, who are in second place. The gap now is 8 seconds. Boels Dolmans there in third place and drops in fourth. So 85 points to Canyon Schramm. They're in the lead of the green jersey competition. Don't go away, of course, this afternoon we have the men's race coming up straight after this. Here's our Queen of the Mountains. Drops maintain their advantage, 3 points their advantage on Sarah Tizet WNT. So 20 points to Drops, 17 to the team of Erica McNaldy. It really is a great competition between Joss Loudon's team and Erica McNaldy's team for that all-important polka dot jersey. Well, the men are getting ready for the stage to be held over exactly the same route. No differences in this race between the men and the women. They go over exactly the same route. Confirmation then that Drops have the best young rider classification still. 10 points to them, 9 points to Team 2020. So Drops score the maximum points today. And don't forget that Cecilia Uttrup Ludwig was awarded the most combative rider for the most aggressive racing on today's stage. Well, thank you very much for joining us for the Women's Virtual Tour de France, a stage won by Lauren Stevens of Team Tibco Silicon Valley Bank, giving her team the maillot jaune, the yellow jersey, as race leaders as we go out of the first weekend. In a few moments, we're going to bring you the men's race. Don't go away, because the men are about to race on the same course. Well, let's just, before we get to the men, let's see some highlights of the women's race. This was the run into the top of the epic climb, so Magnaudi powering her way over the top. Huge effort to take that, but on the run into the finish, it was all about the tactics, the power-ups, and the power in the legs. And it was Lauren Stevens who came through to take the win for her American squad. Lauren Stevens very, very pleased with that performance. In a few moments, the men's race. A virtual Tour de France. It was a stage won by Ryan Gibbons of Team NTT, giving his team the yellow jersey, and they will wear that on today's mountain stage. NTT Pro Cycling lead the virtual Tour de France with a 1-point advantage on the American squad, the wild card of Rally Cycling, who really enjoyed the stage, with Pierre-Andre Cote taking second place to Ryan Gibbons on the run-in yesterday. Today's stage then, 29.5 kilometres of racing, 18.3 miles over the epic mountain and the radio tower. The green jersey competition is also led by NTT Pro Cycling with a 70 points total at the top, ahead of Mitchelton Scott in second place. The mountains classification was looked after yesterday by Alpecin Phoenix, the team of Mathieu van der Poel, but it was another cyclocross rider, Philip Valsleben, who was on the move trying to secure as many points as possible. And in the white jersey for the best young rider, it is the American squad of Rally Cycling who lead with 10 points, 9 points to Alpecin Phoenix and 8 to Lotto Soudal. The white jersey today will be worn by Nicholas Zukowski of the American Rally squad. Let's take a look at the teams who will be taking part in the virtual Tour de France this afternoon. Well, we have some huge names, and none are bigger than Geraint Thomas, the winner of the Tour de France in 2018 and second in the Tour de France last year. But there are some other big names in this field. Rigoberto Urán of EF Education First, Mathieu van der Poel of Alpecin Phoenix, also in the race, Wout Poels of Bahrain McLaren, Luis Menkes of NTT Pro Cycling, Nicholas Roach, Giulia Ciccone, and many more. So it's going to be a very, very hard race. There's the team of Rally Cycling on the screen who hold on to that white jersey. Here's the route. If you saw the women's race, it's exactly the same. The riders go out from sea level at Watopia. They go up the gradient, up the climb to the second category climb known as the Epic Mountain. Then it's the climb up to the radio tower, which is brutal. And then it's super tough time on the way into the finish line at the end of today's stage. The riders about to get the start underway. Counting down around about 1 minute 40 until we get this race started. So we're going to see it right from the go, which is nice to be able to see on this Zwift platform. Those of you just joining us now, the virtual Tour de France being held on this gaming platform that is now so popular across the world with cyclists. But let's hear now from one of the team directors who is looking after the squad. So we're going to hear now from Pat McCarty of the Rally Cycling team.
Hey everybody, this is Pat McCarty, Team Director for Rally Cycling, coming at you guys about the virtual Tour de France we have coming up this July, racing on Zwift. Really excited about this. First of all, it's a massive invite for us to be part of the Tour de France. And I think all of our guys are really excited. We've had quite a bit of experience with e-racing. We've had some good performances already this year in the Zwift Tour for All, shown that we're a very, very capable group of bike riders, and we've taken the e-racing seriously, so it's been fun for us. I think for these 6 stages over the next 3 weekends, we're going to go for wins. I think the expectation is high.
Pat McCarty then of the Rally Cycling team. They certainly do take it very seriously. They're in the centre, the avatar of Luis Menkes, the climber from NTT Pro Cycling. We're near the start of this race now. So NTT had a great day yesterday and we're underway now. They have both the green jersey and they have the yellow jersey. So
pour la deuxième étape du Tour de France virtuel, la course est lancée dans le monde de Watopia. 29,5 km à parcourir aujourd'hui pour les coureurs représentant 23 équipes. Hello and welcome to stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. The race is currently underway in the world of Watopia. 29.5 kilometers of racing today for the riders representing 23 teams.
The voice of Seb Piquet, the voice of Radio Tour, as he gets this race underway. So we're going to go out of the start on Watopia, this virtual world, and then we're going to make our way onto the climb. The climb itself, 682 meters of climbing on today's stage, which takes us up the epic mountain and then up to the radio tower at the top. It's a very, very long climb. The King of the Mountains point after 13.9 kilometers of racing. Now on these races, you have to get a very, very good start. You find that the riders warm up and then off the start, they almost go off the start like a sprint. So you've got to be working hard to stay in the group at the beginning of the race. Luis Menkes with one of his teammates towards the left-hand side of our picture. So a couple of the NTT riders riding together this afternoon. A lot of these teams now on training camps, getting themselves ready for the season, which is due to start on the 1st of August with Strade Bianche, the first race that the riders are looking to take part in generally across the world. Well, Luis Menkes is a rider who today's wearing the yellow jersey. He's very experienced on this Zwift platform. In terms of his levels, level 27 on Zwift. He's ridden 5,779 kilometers before the start of today's stage. And he won stage 5 of the Zwift Tour for All. So he's a rider who knows how this platform feels, which is very important. It takes a little while until you work it out. And you've got to work out the power-ups, you've got to work out how the sensation is, and then over time you get experience in it. Luis Menkes today could be a rider who could attack on this mountain. We're looking there on the screen at the power of Stefan de Bod. He's in the green jersey this afternoon, the 23-year-old rider from the NTT Pro Cycling team, another South African in that squad. And of course NTT is known as Africa's team. 342 watts he's putting out, rolling along with his heart rate at 143. So whilst we're making our way underneath the ocean tunnel of Watopia, before we start the climb. He's nice and relaxed now. He's quite calm, nothing too strenuous. He's rolling along at 89 revs per minute. Most pro riders ride between 80 and 90 revs a minute as a nice cadence in terms of the pedals turning. 51 kilometers an hour. And as I mentioned in the women's race, you can sit in this peloton and you can draft like you are in a peloton in the Tour de France. There are some other virtual platforms that you can ride on as a bike rider, but they don't have the algorithm of drafting, so it doesn't give you that sensation that you are able to sit in the wheels and save a little bit of power. And then when you go through to the front, you then start to feel, oh, I'm working hard here. There's our captions picking out the avatar of Philip Valsleben. Valsleben is a cyclocross rider. He's wearing the King of the Mountains jersey today. He was a little bit of a surprise, I would say, yesterday on the stage. Not really picking up his data too much, but there he is on the left-hand side. Looks like he's working hard. Out of the saddle, just trying to stay in there. Valsleben, 32 years of age, national champion in cyclocross, 5th in the World Championships at cyclocross, and an under-23 world champion also in cyclocross. Many of the Alpecin Fenix team are cyclocross specialists. You can see there he got out of the saddle, accelerated hard, and now, having sat towards the back of the group, he's sprinting his way up towards the front to stay in the right position within the group. And you do have to concentrate, you do have to maintain your position in the group. Towards the front then, Connor Zwift is setting the tempo for the Arkea Samsic team. Connor is a former British champion. He rode for the Madison Genesis team in the United Kingdom, and then he was signed by Arkea Samsic to look after Nasser Bouhanni, to be one of his lead-out men. He's quite experienced on Zwift. He rode before today's stage, 3,229 kilometers on Zwift itself. And he's staying up towards the front, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those riders who could perform very, very well as the Tour de France winner Geraint Thomas comes to the front. Setting the pace now, Alexis Gougiat. Dea Quintana also goes through to the front. We must wish all the very best to Nairo Quintana after his crash over the weekend. He was hit by a car while he was out training. Here's another of our Colombians. Quintana is okay though, nothing broken. Look at the setup of Rigoberto Urán. Leather sofa, the pink flooring laid out for his smart trainer. He's got everything he needs. He's got a couple of bananas sitting there in case he needs them. Rigoberto Urán, 4th on stage 5 of the Zwift Tour for All. 2 stage wins, of course, on the road in the Giro d'Italia. 2nd in the Tour de France, 2nd in the Giro d'Italia. And it's great to see Rigoberto also recovering from that horrific crash he had that was career-threatening. It's great to see him back here, and look how cool he looks. Sitting, I think, either at home, it looks like he's at home, just rolling along on the pink carpet. So 5.2 kilometers covered. There you can see on the profile on the right-hand side where we are as we make our way up the mountain. The average gradient on the bottom of this climb is just under 5%, somewhere around 4 point something, but the top of it 13.7. Luis Menkes on the front in a yellow jersey. Always staying near the front is Geraint Thomas. During lockdown, of course, Geraint Thomas rode an incredible challenge for charity for the NHS, the Health Service of Great Britain. He rode 3 days, and he rode for 12 hours a day for 3 days and raised a huge amount of money for charity. So he is very well versed on what it means to ride on the Zwift platform itself. Making our way up the bridge before we get onto the other side and then head up that mountain that you can see. Don't forget, today you can vote for your most aggressive rider. At Le Tour is where you need to visit for the poll that will be put up there. And also you can ask me any questions if you would like to. At Ant McCrossan is where you can join me on Twitter if you'd like to join in the conversation and send any thoughts or any questions as we make our way towards this King of the Mountains point today. White jersey on the shoulders of Nicholas Zukowski. There he is on the left-hand side, out the saddle as he makes his way up this climb, and you can see he's got the Wahoo hill kicker on his front forks, and that will actually take his bike into a gradient so that he can get out of the saddle and he feels like he's on exactly the same gradient as the mountain that he is currently climbing. This technology the rider's using is absolutely incredible. So he's got the smart trainer at the back, taking the back wheel out, and the bike is in that. And then on the front, you can see the gradient being ramped up by that little machine at the front, which will pick the forks all the way up. So when he gets to the 13.7% gradient at the top, his forks will be right up there at the top of that little machine that they are bolted into. Geraint Thomas setting the pace. Thomas, the winner of the Tour de France. Level 20 on Zwift, so he's ridden a lot. 2,966 kilometres before the start of today's stage. Being tracked here by Ben O'Connor. O'Connor in second place. Theo Gegenhardt comes up. Theo has not ridden loads on Zwift. He's a level 9 rider, but he's extremely good on the climbs. And there is Geraint Thomas, the winner of the Tour de France, concentrating very hard there, out on the balcony this afternoon, down in Monaco. I think that's where he's currently positioned as far as lockdown is concerned. He's been training for the Tour de France. That familiar style of Geraint Thomas, the jersey unzipped all the way down. See the heart rate strap he's got on. Hasn't had a haircut for certain. The power he's putting out at the moment though, 400 watts. And rolling on at 31 kilometers an hour on this 6% gradient. Well, Geraint Thomas will just try and use his power to really good effect. He's taken a look at his phone there to just have a look at, see what's going on. There's all sorts of little additions that these riders are using to help them. Whilst we flick across to the camera of Mathieu van der Poel. There is Mathieu. If you've just joined us today, I remember pointing out yesterday that he's got some memorabilia to remind himself of his granddad there on the shelf, Raymond Poulidor, who passed away sadly a few months ago. But Mathieu yesterday had a very good stage. He was 4th overall, just got outwitted on the run into the finish. But today that cadence nice and high, 96 revs a minute, 182 beats per minute, so he's working really hard on this climb. Mathieu tends to ride a very, very high cadence, doesn't he? So many top names in this race today. Michael Woods now comes to the front. He's recovered from his accident he had a few months ago. Also near the front is Freddie Ovett, the son of Steve Ovett, the great athlete. Freddie does ride a lot on Zwift. Level 29 on this gaming platform. 5,849 kilometers he's ridden on Zwift. Geraint Thomas just losing the wheel a little bit as he tries to work his way up through the group. Let's just make sure he stays there because the group is certainly working hard. Maybe Geraint looking at his phone meant that he just missed that little acceleration. He just needs someone's wheel to follow, and the drafting effect will take him back into the group. Well, Mathieu van der Poel's not having an easy time either. Heart rate 178 beats a minute, but the group is going away from Mathieu van der Poel. Well, he put out a big effort yesterday. I don't know if Mathieu is going to be able to stay here in this race today. 8.6 kilometres covered, and he's starting to suffer. He's passed there by Sandras Velslorsum. Gianni Vermeesch, the teammate of Mathieu van der Poel, at the front of the group. Simon Clark, a climber, now takes over. Simon Clark, rider, of course, who's won the King of the Mountains of the Vuelta a España. Always near the front is Alexis Goujiard. And now we see an attack. Comes from Domen Novac for Bahrain McLaren. Puts in a huge attack now, 408 watts for Novac. Didn't see whether he used a power-up then. He may well have used one to just try and break away. The gradient's got to be around about 7% to have a real effect on the attack of a rider. Goujiard now catches Novac. Lewis Menkes is up towards the front. Simon Clark, Freddie Ovett. Looks like Connor Swift is also still there, so is Rigoberto Urán. Yellow jersey of Lewis Menkes is up there. Geraint Thomas looks like he may well be starting to drop away here. Oh no, he's gone on the attack. So Geraint Thomas out of the murk on the mountain has decided to attack and is going clear. This is a big move by the winner of the Tour de France 2 years ago. So Thomas really putting in some power. Look at that, 470 watts, just spinning on at 65 revs per minute. And Lewis Menkes has sensed the danger. 4 riders now at the front, and a couple more riders coming across. So this 6% gradient is being used very well here. Geraint Thomas will be using this as a little bit of a tryout. Tour de France, really, in real terms, is only, what, 2 months away. And Lewis Menkes with the mouth wide open here. That familiar style is no different, is it, on the indoor trainer as the group comes all back together. A reminder then that NTT hold the yellow jersey, 80 points to them, 79 to Rally in second place. Alpecin, courtesy of the performance of Mathieu van der Poel yesterday, are in third place. But Mathieu not having a very good day today, dropping away off this group. A reminder we just saw on the screen, follow the hashtag TDF United. Throughout this next few stages, we are looking to raise as much money as for charity as possible for 5 cycling-related charities. 2 riders now at the front. Theo Gegenhardt, the young British rider from Team Ineos. Theo, of course, a very talented climber. Michael Woods, the Canadian, makes his way to the front now. And there's the data on the left-hand side of Michael Woods. Theo Gegenhardt just staying with the wheel of Michael Woods at the moment. It's amazing how these avatars do take on the form of the rider that they actually are. Teo, a skinny, powerful bike rider, and his avatar even looks like that. Freddie Ovett now getting towards the front. Freddie Ovett is very experienced on this platform. Let's just remind ourselves then that the King of the Mountains point is at 27 kilometers. 27 kilometers is the sprint. 13.9 kilometers is the King of the Mountains point. So we are 2.4 kilometers now from the first of our major points of this race. The King of the Mountains, there will be 10 points for the winner, then 8, then 6, 4, 2 and 1. King of the Mountains is held by Alpecin Phoenix, a team of Mathieu van der Poel. Second place is Israel Startup Nation, and third place is Mitchelton Scott. Now, yesterday, the rider who did all the damage as far as the King of the Mountains was concerned for Alpecin Phoenix was Philip Valsleben, and he's now up towards the front of this group. Heading up towards the front now in the blue, the white and red, sorry, is Giulio Ciccone. Alexis Gougiard, there's his data. He's been near the front all the time. Really good performance by Alexis Gougiard. Being cheered on in the background, you can see Oliver Naesen there. Oliver Naesen, one of the classic specialists of Agi Désert Le Mondial. He's in the room with Alexis Gougiard. They're giving him a bit of a cheer on this afternoon. Nice to see Oliver there. They're just trying to give him as much encouragement as possible. This is such a hard effort. Simulated bike racing is just a war. Look at the face on Alexis Gougiard now. When he hits this final part of the climb, this is going to be very, very tough. So fast downhill now till we head towards this intermediate point, the King of the Mountains, and it's Geraint Thomas on the front. Louis Menkes in second. Michael Woods is up there. Guillaume Martin. Ben O'Connor is also in there for NTT, a rider who rode so well in the Giro d'Italia until he had a crash a couple of years ago. But he's a rider definitely for the Grand Tours. Valsleben now making his way towards the front, looking for some more King of the Mountains points. Looking to hold on to this polka dot jersey. Geoffrey Boujard is also there. Alexis Gougiard at the top, 411 watts. As Whelan of EF Education First goes clear. One of the 4 riders from that team. We're only 200 metres now to the King of the Mountains point. Who's going to take it? Whelan looks like he may well be in with a shout of taking these points. Has anyone got a featherweight power-up? Coming up to the wheel is Guillaume Martin, the philosophy graduate from Cofidis. Whelan is caught, going clear now. Looks like it could be Iversen. Rasmus Iversen of Lotto Soudal. So a little bit of a tussle now as we make our way to the King of the Mountains point. And now one rider trying to go clear. And it looks like it might be Piccoli. So Piccoli takes the King of the Mountains points. Across the top of the climb then, Guillaume Martin, Whelan, Ovett, Theo Gegenhardt, Louis Menkes, Iversen, Nicolas Aige, Nicolas Ede, all at the top that time. So James Piccoli of Israel Startup Nation takes the maximum points at the top of the climb. That's going to help them a lot because they had 3 points yesterday. So that 10 points is going to put them on 13. One rider has used the cloak power up there on the descent. I was just trying to see who that was. That makes you invisible to the other riders for 10 seconds. And now we're on to the next part of the climb. If you have a featherweight power up, now is a very good time to use it. If you're seeing all these little thumbs come above the riders, if you are a fan of this platform and you ride on it, you can send a thumbs up to the rider that you want to support, and their pockets get heavier and heavier, as you can see in the back there with the little thumbs up going into the pockets. There's James Whelan. Well, he set the pace on the climb to the King of the Mountains, and now he really is struggling to stay with the group. I'd love to see his heart rate right now. He's not wearing the heart sensor, so we're not seeing it the way we sometimes do. But you can see he is absolutely on the limit right now. The avatar looks like it's on the limit, and the camera tells us he definitely is. Michael Woods now at the front. Michael Woods. Just a little bit of an advantage on Theo Gegenhardt. This Canadian rider who was an extremely talented athlete. I believe he's run a sub 4-minute mile. 33 years of age. Winner of a stage of the Vuelta a España in 2018. And of course had that wonderful ride in Liège-Bastogne-Liège where he finished in second place, and then took also in 2018 a bronze medal in the World Championship road race. He's supremely talented. Came to cycling extremely late, but has made up for it. There's no doubt about that, as he goes clear now. Michael Woods, followed by Theo Gegenhardt. Then it's Freddie Ovett in third place at 4 seconds. Then Aday. Then Guillaume Martin. Giulio Ciccone making his way towards the front now. The King of the Mountains of the Giro d'Italia. And underneath the names of the riders, you can see how many watts per kilo they're putting out. Michael Woods and Theo Gegenhardt, very similar watts per kilo right now, around about 7. Further on down, Giulio Ciccone at 6.5. And these riders, when we talk about power, this is what they train for. How many watts, how much power can those legs put out? They have the meters on the bike that will help them to see how much power they've got. And then the amount of weight they've got then just shows how quick you can go uphill. So as much watts as possible. Left-hand side, Nicolas Aday of the Cofidis team. He's now in third place, but Michael Woods is going clear. Looks like Aday now goes on the attack. Well, big attack by this Cofidis rider over the top of the radio tower climb. 14 kilometers to go to the finish, and if you remember now, once the gradient goes over 5%, the riders will sprint and they will get into the aero tuck. So Nicolas Aday leading well here now. He is the lone leader. Thanks for your messages on Twitter. David, you've said to me, are the frames and wheels equivalent for the racers? Well, the teams actually in the game have their bikes, race bikes, but generally only one set of wheels, so they're all broadly similar. They're not allowed to use any major advantage bikes that are in the Zwift platform. There's the mountains classification, confirmation then at Alpes and Phoenix. have 46 points, so they will keep the King of the Mountains jersey for another day. Freddie Ovett into the aero tuck. Now he's got to get himself powered on again because he goes over that little rise and the aero tuck won't work there. So Alpecin Fenix will keep that King of the Mountains jersey. We'll see that at the end of today's stage. Freddie Ovett leads now. Theo Gegenhardt is also up there. Michael Woods, Ede is there. So 4 riders now going clear, being chased by a group that includes riders at 8 seconds, Gianni Vermeesch, Luis Menkes, Julien Bernard of the Trek Segafredo team, and Gavin Mannion of Rally. Also in that group, Giulia Ciccone and Guillaume Martin. Freddie Ovett, 26 years of age, riding for the Israel Startup Nation team. Ninth in the Tour of Langkawi was Freddie Ovett. Nicola Ede at the back as we go fast downhill at 76 kilometers an hour. Don't forget then, everyone, as there we see Theo on the left-hand side at home in Girona. Spinning downhill, he's getting the chance to just calm the heart rate down, relax, try and recover a little bit until he has to put the power on. Don't forget then that you can vote for your most combative rider of the stage. Go on to Twitter and visit @LeTour, and there will be a poll there for you to vote for your most aggressive rider of today's stage. 4 leaders in this virtual Tour de France. The second stage. The yellow jersey being held by NTT, with Luis Menkes wearing the yellow jersey today in that team contest. The yellow jersey standings, NTT lead, Rally in second place, Alpecin Fenix in third place. Nicola Ede just waiting for the aero tuck to work its way out. And we'll see whether this group can stay away. Remember, in the women's race, the group was caught on the run-in. Lovely weather there where Nicola Ede is. King of the Mountains of the Vuelta a España. He was the winner of the Tour de Limousin as well in 2018. He's a 32-year-old bike rider. This year he won the Mountains classification in the Paris-Nice before lockdown started across the world. The group is coming back, 6 seconds. Vermeesch, Ciccone, Menkes is in there, Bernard, Guillaume Martin, Gavin Mannion as well. Can Rally manage to win a stage? That would be a really big coup for them. They are second overall in the yellow jersey. Let's take a look then at some statistics of what the sort of power these riders have been putting out on the climb. Here's the watts per kilo. So Luis Menkes with 6.2 watts per kilo, the average up to the first King of the Mountains point that we saw. Just shows how much power these riders have got in their legs. You can see the breakaway group, and just behind them, not too far behind now, is the chase. 3 seconds. And Rigoberto Urán is also in there. So is the green jersey of Stefan de Bod. Julien Bernard, Patrick Bevin is also in there. Nicolas Aige is in there too. So there's some big name riders trying to come across with 7.5 kilometers to go. I think they're going to get caught. It's going to be possibly a bunch sprint of maybe 15 riders by the time we come into the line. Here's the group. Patrick Bevin is also in here. Now remember, we're going to go through the intermediate sprint at 27 kilometres, so we're 4.3 kilometres now from that intermediate sprint. And as they go under that sprint archway, if they haven't used their power-up, then they will get a new power-up, and that will give them the opportunity to maybe use that on the run into the finish. And in the women's race, we had 3 riders with an aero power-up available on the run into the line. So we'll see whether any riders decide to do that as well. Here is Luis Menkes. Looks a little bit more relaxed than he did on the top of the radio tower. It's been a very, very fast race today. 34 minutes coming up. Only 6.3 kilometres to go. 29.5 kilometres of racing. They really haven't held back at all, have they? The yellow jersey goes towards the front. Remember, the yellow jersey being held by the team collectively and not just the rider. So NTT with a 1-point advantage on rally cycling. You've got Gavin Mannion in there. Who is going to win this stage? A group now of what, 12, 15 riders at the front of the race. In terms of sprinters, there are some fast men in here. Geraint Thomas, is he in the second group? This is Geraint Thomas. 400 watts now, riding along at 56 kilometers an hour. He's certainly had a hard ride this afternoon. Some of the riders also went out riding and training this morning. Some of them were on Zwift nice and early today. Julien Bernard starts to stretch the race a little bit more. Julien Bernard, of course, the son of Jean-Francois Bernard, the famous French rider. Julien, now 28 years of age, such a loyal domestique for the Trek Segafredo team. Guillaume Martin just caught there by his teammate Nicolas Ede. And at the front it's Ovet and Ede who are trying to just press this race on a little bit more. Almost at the intermediate sprint. We're less than 2 kilometers from the sprint point. This time 10 points on offer for the first rider across the line. NTT seem to be doing a good job here, so do Trek Segafredo. In the group then, Giulio Ciccone goes to the front. Trek Segafredo have got a strong squad in here. Look at that, they've got 3 riders in this front group. That's going to help them a lot. Well, Ciccone is in there, Bernard is in there, Nicolas Ige is there too. There is Guillaume Martin on the left-hand side. 43 kilometers an hour been done now by the group. 3.9 kilometers to go. Who's got the power in the legs and who has got the tactical nous here on Zwift to win this race? Cloaking power up being used by a rider here. One rider going invisible. This is Luis Menkes trying to break away using the invisibility cloak for 10 seconds. Means the other riders don't see him attack. But he's caught. And Alpecin Phoenix are the team that bring that back. Theo Gegenhardt alongside Luis Menkes. Rigoberto around there on the left-hand side. Look at the face on him. Can he win today's stage? Oh, he's almost won a stage on a race in Zwift before. The combativity prize, as you can see on the left-hand side of the screen. Geraint Thomas, the winner of the Tour de France 2 years ago. Thank you to all of you for taking part in the vote this afternoon. Not far to go now, going through the sprint. Who's going to take the intermediate sprint point? Looks very, very close. Theo Gegenhardt was up there, so was Stefan de Bod, and I think the green jersey took it. Stefan de Bod and Theo Gegenhardt going for the intermediate sprint. Now we set ourselves on the breakaway burrito being used by Stefan de Bod. You can see the little icon above them. Makes you undraftable for 10 seconds. We talked about drafting in Zwift at the start of today's stage. So there is drafting capability, but if you use the breakaway burrito, then you're not able to sit in the slipstream of the rider who's using it. So 3 riders used it, but it hasn't really worked to any good effect as they still stay in the group. The thumbs raining down on these riders from the fans who are watching, filling the pockets. Right, this is our group of riders. Who can win this stage? Rigoberto Urán moves up. Giulia Ciccone is also there. Theo Gegenhardt. Has Geraint Thomas made it? No, he's in the next group back. So Geraint Thomas won't win today's stage, but his teammate Theo Gegenhardt might do. Michael Woods is there. Who is going to take this stage? Stefan de Bod moving up in the green jersey. Luis Menkes in the yellow. Giulia Ciccone up towards the front. Confirmation of the green jersey will be still held by NTT Pro Cycling at the end of today's stage. 86 points now for NTT. We've decided the King of the Mountains. We've decided where the green jersey at the moment is going, and of course the points will be accumulated at the finish as well for the green jersey, as always in the Tour de France. 1 kilometre of racing to go. Ciccone goes towards the front. Theo Gegenhardt is going with him. Luis Menkes in the yellow jersey. Can he hold on to this for the NTT Pro Cycling team? Not far to go now for this group of riders. This is the end of stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. 580 metres to go. A breakaway burrito being used by a couple of riders now. Power-ups being ignited. For 10 seconds, the breakaway burrito is absolutely perfect. It looks like Patrick Bevin going clear. Bevin has ignited his breakaway burrito, and is he going to hold on to win the stage? Behind him is Freddie Ovett. Is it going to run out? The rider's coming up to him now. Ovett is with him. Michael Woods is with him as well. Freddie Ovett of Israel Startup Nation on the line. It looked to me like it might have been Freddie Ovett, but Michael Woods was closing very, very quickly as well. Superb racing. Well, I don't know who got it, so we're going to have to look at the replay. There's Julien Bernard just winding down. It looked like Freddie Ovett of Israel Startup Nation. There is Julien Bernard. Did he close up just at the finish line? We need to see the replay to see who takes the stage. Look at the face of Julien Bernard. That was a very, very tough race. 41 minutes of racing. A little bit of a smile, almost, trying to recover. Well, let's take a look at this replay. Who took the stage? They threw their bikes at the line. Was it an Israel rider? It looks like an Israel rider to me. Freddie Ovett could have taken a huge win. Or was it Julien Bernard who was closing quickly as well? All the thumbs up going into the pocket of Julien Bernard. Well, they all had their power-ups to use on that run-in, and Bernard used it very, very late, I think. Just shows you how much power you've got to use on that run into the finish. Well, we're showing Julien Bernard here. So he may well have just thrown the bike at the line and taken the win. We'll wait for the classification to appear on the screen to confirm who took it. Here's the classification. Julien Bernard just got it on the line from Freddie Ovett of Israel Startup Nation. Ede was in third place and Michael Woods in fourth. So it was Julien Bernard taking that victory for the Trek Segafredo team. Ovett just using his breakaway burrito a little bit too early, and Bernard closed up on him just as they made their way to the line. So Julien Bernard, a stage winner in the Tour des Alpes Maritimes. He was sixth in the Abu Dhabi Tour in 2016. The 28-year-old rider for Trek Segafredo takes the victory here on stage number 2, the virtual Tour de France. Well, we'll hear from him in a few moments. Julien Bernard closing in on Freddie Ovett right on the line, but Ovett is so good at this style of racing. He knows the Zwift platform very, very well indeed. Julien Bernard has clearly been training hard and has got some very, very good form. Julien Bernard, 30th in the Tour de France last year. Let's just take a look on this run into the finish. How late did Julien Bernard leave it? He literally got Freddie Ovett right on the line. Huge power there from Julien Bernard on that run in. Well, we'll hear from him in a few moments as to what he did on that finish to try and take that victory. But Bernard was supremely strong in the last 50 metres. That was very, very close indeed. Well, let's get ready then to hear from Julien Bernard as he wins at stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. Julien, congratulations on a wonderful victory in the stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France. Talk us through that last run into the finish. Did you have a power-up to use that you used just before the line?
Yeah, I think it was really, really close. I didn't realize I won. I was thinking Freddie was in front of me, but when I saw the result, I was really happy because I started to sprint really late, I think. And in the last few meters, I was able to pass him.
Yeah, I think Freddie will be very surprised. I think all of us thought Freddie had taken it on the line, but you closed up on him really, really quickly. Just how tough has this race been? I know it's only a few kilometres really in terms of what you're used to in the Tour de France, but just give us as fans a comparison of how hard you have to push on this race.
There was a really, really fast start, and to the mountain, I was really at the limit. I think I passed in the second group in top, and I was able to come back with my group on the first 4 on the downhill. And then I know that I have to recover for the sprint because it's really hard on Zwift to when to go alone. So I just start to keep energy for the last sprint, and was a success.
And what does it mean to you and the Trek Segafredo team finally to get a victory, albeit a virtual victory, in the Tour de France?
It's mean a lot because we didn't have a race since now a long time, and win to win is every time is a good thing. So now we are looking for come back to the real race and win on the real race.
Well, Julien, many congratulations on the victory on stage 2 of the virtual Tour de France, and all of us look forward to seeing you on the real roads very soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
A win then for Trek Segafredo, for Julien Bernard. Well, he thought that Freddie had just beaten him on the line as well. Freddie Ovett, who led that sprint out, but he just got it as the finish line closed. The yellow jersey will stay on the shoulders of the NTT Pro Cycling team, who actually extend their advantage now to rally in second place. The American squad, Rally Cycling, are in second, Alpes and Phoenix in the third place. So the yellow jersey, there we are on the virtual avatar now of the NTT Pro Cycling team. They will wear that next weekend as we make our way into virtual France for stage number 3. Trek Segafredo, courtesy of that win today, in 4th place. Well, don't forget that next weekend we have the next 2 stages of the virtual Tour de France. Same time wherever you are. Let's take a look now at the next of our classifications. This is for the green jersey. NTT Pro Cycling also maintain their position in the green jersey competition. What a race they're having. Ahead of Mitchelton Scott in second place and the CCC team in third. Green jersey will be worn by the African team next week. Next weekend then we have 2 stages, the RGV stage and the Casapad stage as well. Let's look at the King of the Mountains, Israel Startup Nation, 17 points now. So the polka dot jersey goes onto the shoulders of Israel Startup Nation. Alpes and Phoenix, who held the jersey today, in second place, and Cofidis in third after the performance of Nicholas Ede today. Next weekend stage is 48 kilometres on Saturday, 45.8 kilometres on Sunday. And of course the virtual Tour de France finishes on the virtual Champs-Élysées in 2 weeks' time. Here's the best young rider. Look at this, NTT have also got that. The white jersey on the shoulders of NTT Pro Cycling. Lotto Soudal now in second place, just 2 points separating those 2 squads, with Trek Segafredo now in third. NTT Pro Cycling then have had a very, very good day on the roads of the virtual Tour de France. Well, as we get ready then for next weekend, don't forget to follow throughout the week the hashtag TDF United. And that's because we are raising as much money as possible for 5 cycling-related charities. And we hope that you'll give them a little bit of support. Let's take a look then at the highlights of today's stage. The peloton rolling out 23 teams of 4 riders, with Luis Menkes in the yellow jersey for the NTT Pro Cycling team. Through the ocean tunnel before the climb to the epic mountain, and then over the radio tower climb before a fast descent into the finish. The early stages left a few riders behind as we made our way onto the virtual snow line. A little bit of an attack by Domen Novac, but then it was all about the tempo being set at the front by a number of key riders. As we made our way over the top of the climb. It was Nicolas Ede of the Cofidis team who was on the attack. He was the first rider onto the descent. Super tucks for everybody before a group of riders came together at the front of the race. And as we made our way into the sprint point, a group containing a number of riders who used their power-ups. It was a throw of the bikes to the line. Vettel was leading, but Bernard was there, and he took the victory for Trek Segafredo. Thank you very much to all of you for watching. Thanks for joining us for the virtual Tour de France. Bye for now.